welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you how to check the front pulley nut on your Yamaha Road Star. It's really important because if that pulley nut comes loose, it could strip the splines and destroy your bike. So before you head out on a trip, if you haven't checked your front pulley nut, you need to check it. It's very important. So let's get started. Now, a few items you're going to need to check your pulley nut is you're going to need sockets because different years use different size nuts. You're going to need a torque wrench, red Loctite. Definitely use red Loctite. You're going to need some Allen wrenches, and I use some aluminum anti-seize lubricant, and this is for the rollers. Okay, if you've never really messed with your bike, this is really easy to do. So just follow the instructions. You can do it yourself. First thing you want to do is remove the rear peg or the floorboard. Once you get that Allen bolt out, you just grasp it on each side, wiggle it back and forth. And kind of work it around the wires. There's a little notch here. And what holds this are little tabs that fit in here. That just holds the front and it just bolts on. Now, you want to go ahead and remove this bracket here. There are washers in behind, so just be careful you don't lose those. So I always loosen up my back ones. I don't take them out, just get them loose. Now loosen the front ones. They're a lot longer. Now once you get these front bolts kind of loose on this bracket, you got the back ones loose, you can go ahead and remove the back bolts, taking consideration there are washers behind it, so don't lose those washers, keep them together. Now you can remove the front bolts, and there are washers behind it as well. So go ahead and remove everything but this top nut at this time. It's just going to hold the cover in place so it doesn't just drop. All these bolts are the same size, so don't worry about it. Now, just pull the cover off. The rollers may come out with it. That's okay. So you want to clean these off. Then you want to grease this shaft. I use the anti-seize lubricant. Slide your other roller out. Make sure you put those back in. Now, this is your drive pulley nut. I've seen some people post where the pulley nut has come loose, the pulley has slipped on that shaft, and it has destroyed the splines. So what some people have done is just weld that pulley onto that shaft. Now you want to get your sockets for your size. You want to get your red Loctite. You have to use red Loctite. Here's a sheet. I'm going to post these numbers of the pulley nut size for each bike because they're different depending on the year, and so is the torque. So this is a 2006, so it requires a 30mm socket. Now on some of the older models, there's going to be a little metal washer behind here that's got tabs that are bent over. You want to bend those back up out of the way before you mess with this pulley nut. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this pulley nut off and we're going to Loctite. Now here on the threads, you want to clean those off really well before you put your Loctite on there. If it's got grease, the Loctite won't work as well. I'm going to use some brake cleaner. This is really good stuff. And just spray on my rag. And then wipe off the threads. Just like so. You want them threads nice and clean so they look new. Now the brake cleaner, I like using it because it evaporates. Now go on the nut, do the same thing, just kind of clean off the threads. If you look at these splines here, they're really good. The pulley hadn't slipped off. If your pulley's off and your splines are kind of stripped out, that's a concern. Now go ahead and apply a nice bead of Loctite. Slide your washer on, and then your nut. And be careful, don't get that nut on there crooked because these are fine threads. So just kind of work with it till it goes on with your finger. Now, once you get that tight, by hand, look at the chart. This is an 06. It's going to require 89 foot-pounds of torque. So, set your torque bar. Check the sheet, make sure that you get the right torque on your year of bike. And then torque it till you hear your bar click. You've got the correct torque on that. This is going to be very important to keep that pulley on that shaft. You do not want that to come off when you're going down a highway because it will ruin your day. Now if you've got an older model that had the washer behind it with the tabs, you want to go ahead and install that and bend the tabs back over the nut. But some of the newer models like this one here, the washer has a little flange piece that sticks out and there's grooves in the side of the shaft. We're going to bend this washer back into those grooves just to help hold it in place. The Loctite works great. We just want that extra precaution. I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose. And just squeeze it. And try to bend it in the little grooves. Just like so. That's an extra precaution there. So don't forget to do that before you put your cover back on. Now you want to take your rollers, pull the pin out, wipe them down. You can use brake cleaner if they're really bad. If not, just kind of clean them off. Clean the roller itself off. Now, like I said, I use this anti-seize, the aluminum lubricant. Works really well. And it doesn't require much. You can just put some on one of these. Take your rag. Just kind of wipe it off. Slide it into your roller. Now the excess that's left on this rag, I'm going to grease the other one. Slide in the roller, just like that. Now slide your roller back up under the casing. Look for the holes. Slide it in place. There's one on top and one on the bottom. Just like so. And remember this bracket here that holds this wire. You just got a bracket. You need to bolt it back on under the casing. Yeah. Okay. Now remember, when you put your casing on, the curved part goes to the back of the bike, and you got your holes for your pins. So slide it in place, kind of wiggle it around, just like so. Make sure that bracket is up underneath in the casing. You can go ahead and put that bolt in first, just so you know you got the bracket under the casing. Wiggle the bracket, yep, it's in place. Now we can go ahead and just put our bolts back in. Now put your rear bracket on. Start with the 2 large bolts. Slide them in your cover. You don't have to go too deep with them. You want that bracket loose, because remember, you want a washer behind that bracket. So hold it behind the bracket, slip your bolt in, get it started. Repeat the same thing to the bottom bolt. Okay, now go back over all the bolts. Make sure they're nice and snug. Now we want to go ahead and put our cover back on. You can put some lubricant on these rubber grommets to help it slide in place. There. And that lubricant really helps it snap on. Go ahead and put your bolt back in. Tighten it up. And replace the rear foot peg. If you got the stock saddlebag mounts, you may have to push this mount up or down to align that hole. Get one of the bolts started, and the other one should be lined up. If you haven't checked your pulley nut, check it now. Go out there, pull this cover off. It takes 10 minutes. You will be so much happier, and you'll have a peace of mind when you're riding down a highway that this is not going to come off and damage your bike. I hope this video has been helpful, and I can't emphasize enough how you need to go out and check your pulley nut, because it can damage your bike. It can put you in a lot of danger if that pulley nut comes loose. So go outside, follow the instructions, check your pulley nut now. It's very important. Thanks for watching.